How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. All the links on my website if you want to contact me through Twitter, all that fun stuff. I have a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about today. So much so that I don't know which direction to go in. Let me see if I can just turn my speakers down. There we go. It just looked like when I was talking, may have been a lot of like pops. I don't want popcorn while we're talking. But thanks everybody that's in the chat already. We were kind of talking during the pre-show here, and for those of you that don't know, if you'd like to catch the show, it's every Wednesday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's every Wednesday. Yesterday there was horrible weather, and for some reason I'll just start unloading excuses on you guys too, that if the power goes out at my house, my computer has a real hard time turning back on. So I've got to start playing it real safe. When there's the lightning and the scary, Zeus and Thor fighting up in the sky for supremacy and all that good stuff. But yeah, so like I said, I got so much to talk about. Again, so much so that I'm not sure where we're going to go. I can guarantee that I'm going to start talking about the 100 days. I don't know, I guess it's a challenge. It's kind of more of like a habit-forming thing. Definitely going to talk about that. Probably the majority of this, which kind of ties into the character I'm drawing. For those of you that don't know anyway. There's some other stuff I was going to talk about. But again, the show is for you guys. So if you guys had any comments or questions, or if you guys need help with anything, by all means, please ask it in the chat in all capitals. That way I can quickly see it after I'm done rambling. And I can jump to your guys' stuff real quick. I felt like there was even one more thing. Oh man, so much. It's like I need to start keeping like notepads around me or something, just so I can remember all this fun stuff. Hello to everybody in the chat. Okay, so I guess until we start getting some questions in here, I'll just start talking about this 100-day, some people are calling it a challenge, some people are just calling it habit. And where I learned from it, for those of you that have no idea, basically what it is it's the next 100 of days I've committed myself to spending at least a half hour every day working on only personal projects, which in this case is comics. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. I'll probably go into that as well. This is probably just going to jump everywhere. And anyway, where this came from is somebody that I admire and I look up to, Kevin Cross. You guys can check his stuff out. Just type, it's literally as it sounds, Kevin Cross, how it's spelled. 100 days, and you can see, I believe he's up to day 40. He's up to day 44, 45, around there. And yeah, it was just, it's refreshing to see something like this happen. And to be honest, the last time I did anything Kevin suggested or recommended was a mini comic, which was Jessup King. And one quick second here. Can you guys hear me? It sounds like some people can hear me and some people can't, which isn't usually good. Anyway, I'll keep going in the hopes that it looks like it's recording in the sounds on my end. But Kevin, he suggested doing a mini comic. There's a bunch of us doing the mini comics dump truck, it was called, where we all just kind of got together and did a bunch of stories and all that fun stuff. And now Kevin's decided to do this, which is really cool because tons of people are in it now, and it's turned into like a community. It seems like overnight, almost over a week perhaps, and of just people kind of having enough of themselves, I guess. That's my main thing, is I'm always jumping from project to project. I wish I could stick with projects. That's the biggest flaw that I have myself, is not being able to commit to an idea and seeing it through to fruition. And it's something I'm trying my best to work on. So what this project and this little task, I guess, what its point is to help with that. And if you guys can go ahead and follow, I think I have 3 videos up already. There'll be another one up tonight because I'll be spending today during the show and afterwards just working on it. So you guys can find out more information about that. We'll talk, I'm sure, more about like the character and some of the plots and stuff. But the main reason too is most of us do tons of client work. If you're lucky to get client work anyway. And that's not to say that if you don't have client work right now, you're not doing anything. It's just some people have, let's just say, even a day job. Don't even just say client work. I'm just saying client work because I have that. But if you got a day job, anything like that, mixed in with, if you've got a family, maybe this, see, I'm already starting to go off the rails here. I think this kind of tackles and touches two kinds of people here. One group is people that have a family. They don't have much time to do their comic work, and then the days drift by, the weeks drift by, the months drift by, and you just keep getting more ideas, and it kind of snowballs, but nothing ever finishes. You're lucky if anything even starts. And the second one is you're just so burnt out from the day job, and a lot of parallels happen there, where you're burnt out from the day job, all your creative energy spent, or maybe you got like a very physical job, and it's tough. No matter. I've given the advice. I've tried to take the advice. I've tried to drink the comic making Kool-Aid. I've looked at the manga artists' regimen. It's crazy stuff. And even if you look at like Marvel artists or DC artists, very few of them actually, whether they want to or not, do their own personal comic book work. And don't get me wrong, I can't imagine drawing Spider-Man for 8 to 16 hours a day, and then after that doing a personal project. There's some artists out there do it, but very few of them. So the whole idea is just committing yourself. It's kind of like a workout thing, but who likes to work out, right? It's kind of like committing yourself to at least 30 days. Can you do that? Can you squeeze in 15 minutes at the beginning of your day and 15 minutes at the end of your day just to write a script, do some scribbles, just effectively just putting time into a project so that it goes to completion. So that's the whole point of what Kevin was doing there. I don't know if he found this sort of thing or if this is just something he came off the top of his head, but whatever it was, it tickled me the right way, and it got me started on this project here, which right now anyway I'm calling Black Tower. Initially I was going to do Godslayer. You guys have all seen me working on that, and I plan on doing that for sure. I'm actually really excited to get back onto that project. However, I also watched another video, and I'm kind of going over what I talked in one of my earlier videos for the 100 days. And I see the questions. I'll definitely get to those as soon as I'm done rambling here. But Dave Raposa, one of my most favorite artists, thank F, he's getting into comics a little bit. He uploaded a video kind of talking about he's got a comic that he wants to work on called Skull and Shark. It's awesome stuff, but nothing's really been posted, but there's been so much hype, all this cool stuff. But then he started releasing other comics. Starvale, I think the newest one is what's it called? Steve Lichtman. Hilarious hilarious comic. And what he was saying was he wasn't ready to jump into the kind of comic that he wanted Skull and Shark to be, so he felt like he would be wasting the time there. So what he's doing is just kind of doing these like a couple side projects to get himself situated and tell the comic in a way that he can by using other comics to figure out the style and all that stuff. So when it comes time for him to feel more comfortable jumping into it with a tighter script and all that stuff, he can get back to the one that he really wants to do. And what I thought I would do is kind of combine this 100-day challenge or habit thing, like I like to keep saying, as well as that idea. And you know, I haven't ever really published my own kind of comic. I've done a few here and there. Most of you guys probably don't even know about them, which is fine. But anyway, yeah, so that's what I'll be doing with this one. So let me just get to your questions because you guys are already here. Like I said before, this is for you guys and dolls. Alright, there's a whole, wow, a whole bunch here. R Mask, we'll just call you, is asking, hey, did you manage to check the comment I left you regarding Godslayer? It was on pre-recorded. Live stream June 082. Would you mind re-asking it? I do see a lot of your guys' questions. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to reply to everybody, and that's not a slight to anybody. I really appreciate you guys watching and subscribing and sharing and commenting for sure. It helps me get that energy to keep going and inspiration. But off the top of my head, I apologize. I do not remember the question. Again, if you wanted to just type it here in the chat, hopefully I can address it for you here. Some people got the sound. That's good. Some people don't. Let me just, sorry guys. Let me just turn my cell phone on to vibrate here so you guys don't got to keep hearing all those sounds. Okay. Lars Heshkov? I'm gonna brutally butcher these names. How long would you usually spend on personal projects when you don't do the 100-day thing? See that? Okay, great question. It taps into exactly the whole point of doing this. Some days I would never do personal projects as much as I'd like to. Some days I'd never even draw. Some days I would just be so swamped at work. I do concept art for video games. That's my day job. And lately we're working on some stuff right now where my focus needs to be 100% because I'm in a heavy concept phase right now. So what that means is, imagine you guys are creating a Street Fighter video game, for example, or a new fighting game, and you're in charge of designing 8 new characters. So it's an awesome job, absolutely. But the problem is, well, I don't know. It depends on if you consider it a problem. That the amount of brain power it takes to come up with this stuff is huge. So when you come home and you're like, all right, time to relax, just to wind down, work's work, doesn't matter where you're at, even if it's comics that you're doing for your day job. And then you come home and you want to relax, so you just get into a flow. Everybody's a little different, but then you have to come home and go, like for me, I really want to make my own comics. It's a huge dream of mine. So being able to come home and go, yes, now I can relax and make my own comics. I can't really relax because a lot of it is still in the concept phases. There's an argument to be made where I could just start making pages and just winging this as I go, kind of like a Jack Kirby, Stan Lee method. I've thought about it before, but I just want a little bit extra to my story. I'm asking too much of myself, I think, in this regard. And in that case, I need to concept the characters still. I need to develop the world. I need to do the script. There's a lot of things still happening. So what happens is, for me anyway, my brain can usually last 5 to 8 hours, 10 tops, if I'm in a pure concept phase, and it's very hard to maintain that. I find, like I say, the longer I'm going at it, it just starts draining fast and fast and fast. So if I can get down to doing, like, right now I'm just scribbling because I'm talking. I need to do more thought with what I'm doing right here. However, if I had come home and I'm like, all right, I got to do all this stuff, it's tough. So to answer your question, anywhere from I wouldn't work on personal projects at all to 5 hours a night. And it would be very sporadic. It could be 3 days with not even touching anything when I get home, to 5 days of 5 hours straight of doing my own stuff. That's not including the client work that I have as well. That happens there and there. So the beautiful part about doing this is kind of like all I need to do is 30 minutes, and I still get that feeling of it's a slow climb. That mountain's very tall. I'll get to the top, but I'm not sprinting. We're enjoying it. Have fun. Have fun in the process. Van Davis is saying, John, I was going to start YouTubing for my 100 days of comics, but my sound is horrible. Any suggestions for cheap mic or something? What do I use? What do I use? Let me just take this off. This was actually given to me by my brother, and the earpiece is falling apart. It's a Microsoft LifeChat LX300. So let me write it here while I'm talking. Microsoft LifeChat LX3000. And it seems to be doing good. I don't know how much this was. There was one that I bought before until my brother gave me this one. Honestly, it's about like $20–30. I would highly recommend doing the YouTube stuff if you can. It's another way of just letting people know that you're doing something, so you feel obligated a little bit to actually make those posts. Okay, so here's the question by R Mask. Part 1 of his question. Oh, it's a big one. Oh, it's a beefy one. Okay, part 1. How about that? Oh, you're talking about the sister. Okay, so just really quick, the Godslayer stuff. The notes that you guys had given me, I have written down. I'm not sure when I'm going to get back to that script or that comic. This one here, I probably should say, I don't plan on this one being like a crazy length. Again, the script's not even done, so I'm not sure, but it's meant for a test for some of the what's it called? Copic markers, grayscaling, all that sort of stuff that I want to get into. But let's just see your suggestion here for story. How about the guy's sister's pregnant by one of the gods? She falls ill. And the god is when it comes soon she dies. This drives the brother towards revenge. He desperately wants to get back at them for somehow. One of the hells approaches him with a portion. In his desperation, he agrees to the terms in order to get the god slayer arm. He seeks and destroys the one he believed responsible, but it turns out it wasn't him. Oh, there's more. Okay, there's a whole bunch here. Okay, so I'm gonna read this stuff later. But yeah, thank you for this. I will go back and copy and paste all this stuff because it's good. It's good to hear other people's thoughts on story. But if anybody's got any drawing questions or questions like normal, yeah, your fingers must be right to the bone after all that typing. Until then, oh, I guess here we go. Lars, obviously the name's Lars. I understand what you're saying, but don't you think your professional projects maybe would benefit if you skipped like 3 to 5 days instead of forcing yourself to do something? I absolutely believe that if you have to force something, it's not your best work. However, there is a very strong argument to be made on the other side where that is what a professional is. A professional doesn't necessarily mean that you can draw very well or that you get paid to draw. Professional means drawing when you're sick, doing your best to always hit a deadline, asking for help when you need it. If you can imagine yourself as a businessman, let's just say in a suit, and you aren't the artist, but you want to make a comic book, so you hire an artist, and he or she sends you an email saying, "Sorry, I can't come into work today. I'm sick." You're like, okay, I got some humanity to me. But this happens a lot. Or you start getting emails like, sorry, I'm just not feeling it today. Very quickly, I'm not going to work with you. And to be fair, I mean, if you're working on your own personal stuff, I get what you're saying. But that's kind of where the 30 minutes comes in. Instead of having to force myself, I mean, I guess it could be looked at that I'm forcing myself to draw 30 minutes. But it's got to get done. I wish there was a way to say that I always want to work on my personal stuff after coming home from work. But anybody that's got like a full-time job doing whatever, I'm hoping you guys can at least understand where I'm coming from. I can't be alone in this. I always hear people asking this question all the time, like, oh, not just to me, but in general, because I do it too. It's like, how do you get so much work done in a day, and you're always doing this and that? I can't find, and it's more than just, if you want it bad enough, do it. There's a lot of, you have to force yourself. At first it's gonna feel like shite to sit down, turn the computer on, or draw, whatever you gotta do, for me anyway, but most of the time it's it goes away. And the more professional you are, you're never gonna get away from, I don't think, that feeling of I'm always forcing myself to work. It's work, even your own personal stuff. It's not like the page is magically done. There's a lot of the process that people just don't like doing, right? There are the few that actually enjoy every single process of the comic making. And again, I say very few. Most of us, I can speak for myself, there's certain parts, like I enjoy it, I have fun. But I wish certain things went faster, because that way I can get them done faster and make more stuff, right? But I don't know. For me anyway, I find forcing myself helps. So, and you got to find what works for you. But I agree with what you're saying, that you shouldn't. Wouldn't it be better to just take some time off to get the vacation, I guess, or just to clear your head a bit, so that when it comes time, you're like, okay, I took 2 days off. Now I can sit down and just boom, nail things out. If that works for you, do it. Me, it doesn't work. The more time I take off, the harder it is for me to get back on the wagon. And one more time, because we've got more people in here. If you guys got a question, please ask it in all caps. Ben Jones Art. John, I sent you an email to your Hotmail account. Not sure if you still use that. Yes, I did. When did you send it? Because lately I've got like 4 or 5 emails that I have to keep track of for work and other things, and I'm not very savvy with my cell phone. So sometimes I click the all button and just delete, but quickly scroll through, and sometimes people's emails get lost in there. It's a pretty bad habit. Bando is saying, I have to disagree with you, Jonathan. A professional is someone who pays his bills with his comic work. Okay. I don't want to get in the tug of war of who's right in this stuff. However you view a professional, I'm not going to be the guy to tell you that you're wrong, because you're probably right. It's your opinion, right? That's good. So as long as we can all agree that we have opinions, we'll all be good. What I was trying to say is, in regards to your point, a professional is somebody who pays their bills. That's, I see your point. On the other hand, I know a few people that pay their bills, but they're just getting by, and they have to slack on certain things in order to get more volume of work. This kind of goes into another thing of how much people get paid to do comic book work. I suppose the other way I should have worded it would have been the professionalism that I'm talking about with work is how you treat it. So of course, if you rely on your comic book work to pay your bills, you're going to most likely treat it very seriously. Whereas somebody that has a part-time job somewhere, or maybe they're younger. I know I did this when I was younger, where you might think, well, it's Friday or it's the weekend, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. The deadline's Monday, I can do 4 pages by then. That's not professional. Usually, I mean, if you can do it, then what the hell, you know your workflow. But most people can't do a page in 2 days, even if it's your whole day off, right? So the professional would be saying things such as, I can't do anything until my work is done, if that makes sense. At least that's how I view it. Our mask is asking, oh, I'm okay with anatomy, but my figures look stiff. How should I practice gesture, and how often? I think you should practice gesture every day. If you're not drawing every day, I highly recommend doing that. Getting into the habit of doing that might be the problem. So you might want to start there. Maybe do the 30-day challenge for yourself. Over 100 days, you should have a habit by then. Maybe it's before you go to bed. Maybe it's the first thing you do when you wake up. Before you even get your cereal, your breakfast, your workout, your shower, whatever it is. Maybe the night before, put some one piece of paper down and have your computer on standby, or your phone, whatever you use, or a magazine or a comic book. And as soon as you get up, all you got is a pen right there. You don't even got to think. Maybe get your coffee maker going if you like that. Have it already cooked. It's what I've been doing, just to let you guys know, so I can find time to get this stuff in. I've been getting up. I'm now down to 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm in bed by 10. I'm an old man now. But I get my coffee maker all set, so that when I wake up, the coffee's ready to go. I just need to pour a cup and sip on it while my eyes are just like, they can't even focus. And the first thing I start doing is I go to the computer and I just start doing work. That's the best way that I can find that I can get some solid work done before going to work, so that when I get home, kind of what I talked about before, there's not that, now I gotta do more work. You know, the work's all done, so there's that relaxation period. But to get back to your question, so one thing I would do, besides like what I just suggested, maybe you are doing client work. Maybe, I don't know what level you're at right now. Let's just assume you're midway. You're maybe making your own books and stuff. If you can see what I'm doing here, I'm kind of just noodling while I'm talking to you guys, but a lot of times before I sit down, I don't usually just sit down and start going into it. I feel like I got to warm up a bit. And by warm up, I don't mean a half hour. I mean like a couple minutes tops, maybe 5. And just do gesture. Like, if you don't know what gesture is just yet, or structure, or your anatomy is kind of shoddy, you said it was kind of good. But maybe you need to look at figures, like do some like just look at nudes online, the tasteful ones I'd recommend, or just action, like UFC photos, wrestling. That's dynamic poses, and just start, you know, scribbling out shapes, finding the volume in there, or not even the volume. You want to get your gesture in there. You need to get the energy that's coming from these poses. And then if you got the time, you know, do your 30-second gestures. But if you got the time, maybe start, you know, throwing some structure over them and stuff like that. And all you gotta do is fill a single page, or whatever runs out. Don't spend more than a minute on these things. And the more you do this, the volume, you'll just start picking up on stuff. It's just like how you said you're okay with your anatomy. You got better by just doing it. Okay, so you sent that email about a week ago. I don't think I got it then. I apologize. If you could send it again, that would be. Oh, it was an idea for your. If you wouldn't mind sending that, sending it again, I'd appreciate it. And if you're here next Wednesday, remind me again, and I'll let you know if I got it. All right, so we've got a little debate going in the chat room about professionalism. Again, everybody's opinion's good, as long as everybody's open to new thoughts that can change your opinion. We're all good. So just for everybody else that's not listening, so you can make your own opinion from it. I don't know where the person found. I'm assuming on dictionary.com. Professional is of a person engaged in a specified activity as one's main paid occupation rather than a pastime. So according to that, the gentleman's Bando, I think it was, his definition would most likely be correct if engaged in drawing as one's main paid occupation. So there you go. Lars, sorry you misunderstood my question. I meant that I understand that you maybe skip like 3 to 5 days on your personal stuff when you work with art as a profession, but your personal stuff would benefit more. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yes. I don't think I have a point to throw at you. I just want to make sure that, like, I look forward to sitting down and writing or just coming up with ideas with characters and stuff like this. Yeah, for me, it's the struggle is sitting down and getting started after a long day. I was actually talking to Will Robson, who's in the chat, a little bit today briefly, and I want to try getting back into the method that if you guys go to my YouTube channel, the very first video you'll see on there is the Thanos drawing that we did. And I want to get back into doing that for some character designs and stuff. I don't know if the actual comic will be like that. And the idea is I'm in front of computer screens all day. It's starting to bother me again. And, you know, getting into that, I don't want to sit in front of a computer again is definitely one of the main drives, negative drives, to getting started. So if I can get back into that workflow of doing my tight-ish pencils, and then scanning them in ink. I know it seems like an extra step, but even if it's an extra step, it might be more work. But if I'm not sitting down to work anyway, that work's not getting done. You know what I mean? And I know what you're saying. Just for me personally, it doesn't work like that. I can't do it. I've tried. Trust me, I've tried. I've tried tons of stuff. Cool. Okay. So it sounds like everybody in the chat's just having a good time. Question: why don't you do a live stream where you just color? I can if you guys want. If you guys want me to color something, I can color. Honestly, most of the stuff I do, I don't color. The comic that I'll be doing, it's black and white. I love manga. I love inks. I love the look of black and white. Color looks bloody fantastic. Absolutely. But I don't know. It's just like it's more work, and I know the book's not going to be in color, so it's like I don't even do that for this. For covers and stuff, I'll absolutely do that for sure. Ben Jones is saying, I will say that 100 Days of Comics really got me working on my own stuff, and the stuff with Kevin Cross really hit home today. Yeah, man. Oh, man. Whew. That video was phenomenal. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it was an age thing, but what I got from it, the takeaway I got from the video that Kevin posted yesterday. Today was like a follow-up from that, and I'm glad to see him in lighter spirits and a smile on his face in a beautiful, beautiful location that he's at now. It looks like there's mountains in the distance, and there's trees and barns. Man, it'd be spooky at night, but during the day, watch out. But what I got from the one video he was talking about, he just kind of got frustrated with. I suppose he just got frustrated with working for clients and just playing the back and forth. It sounds like, I don't know if there was somebody to blame besides himself, but it just wasn't working out the way he wanted it to, and he found it very difficult to go through with one of the projects. So he was basically saying, it sounded to me anyway, goodbye to clients in a way. And he's just sick and tired of making other people's dreams come true. And what I like about that is I 100% agree. And don't get me wrong, drawing superheroes or somebody else's cool story, we can do that. That's one of the best parts about our job, is we can help visually tell a textual story. That's amazing. That's like half the reason why I got into this, why I still do it. But the other side, and I think this is for me anyway, where the age might come in, or if you have a family or something that takes up a lot of your time, that it just never really seems to pay off, at least for Kevin in the case, and I can't speak for him, but just what I got from the video, that he's just tired of playing these games, working for other people, hoping to, I guess, make more money than what he's making, so that he can continually do this. And it's you know, a lot of webcomics guys and girls, they talk about this too, where it's they make a living off of their webcomic, but it's not an overnight thing. It's a slow burn. It's like, you know, it's going. It takes time, and the sooner you start making personal projects, the sooner that possibility can become a reality. Again, it's still like working for big publishers. It's such a question mark. It's a gamble. We all know that going in, and we all want a piece of that pie. Gambling exists because everybody believes they got a chance, right? And where's the fun if you don't gamble a little bit? At least in something like this. I don't tell you, I wouldn't suggest you guys go and blow all your hard-earned money for making comics and try to win the lottery. I wouldn't suggest that, but you got to do what you got to do. But what I liked about Kevin's thing is the message I got from it again is that, you know, there comes a point, and I agree, I think I'm at that point now myself, where I still take client work on if the pay is really good, because I have a job. And the beautiful part is now that I'm starting to see this and the standard's done, that was the last comic project that I'll be taking ever, unless, again, like I say, unless it's a publisher that I really want to work for, or if the pay is really good and I enjoy it. It's got to be fun. I got to enjoy it. If it's not that, then I'm just sticking with day jobs, because the pay is usually pretty, you know, the pay is consistent, right? And that means I get to come home and just work on my comics when I got the time, my own stuff, and eventually maybe try to sell that. Maybe people will buy it, right? So it just gets to the point of when you get older, I guess, and this just might be the older guys talking. And I'm 31, by the way, so you guys have an idea of how old I am. I don't have kids. I have a full-time job, girlfriend, a brother, a father, 2 cats. Responsibility's pretty low. I own a house, so it's kind of high there. Some client work, and trying to figure out ways to have my own books out there so people might enjoy them, hopefully enjoy them. But there comes a point, again, just to beat a dead horse, that I got again from Kevin's video of I'm getting tired of helping other people get to their dreams before mine are ever done. And I don't want to die never making a book, making 2 books. I don't want to die unless I've made X amount of books. I don't know what that is, right? Like, I'm at a point now, guys, let's just be honest, of I want to use the time I have right now to be able to share visions that I have in my head, stories that I have in my head, and hopefully share them with people and that they enjoy it. That's basically it. And you know, I got a niece getting older. She's getting bigger. It's funny. I definitely know that when I was younger, trying to work at the big boys and stuff, at the big boy table, even in relationships at that time, it was all I was very business oriented because I wanted to get a career. And to get a career, you got to spend a lot of time doing what you got to do. And I regret some of it, and I regret not so much some of it. Because of all the time I spent doing there, you know, personal stuff gets out of the way. Relationships usually get kicked in the dink. But as you get older, you start making new ones, and you start appreciating them a little bit more because you got the time to make them now. So, you know, I'm not going to start crying to you guys, but that's what I got from it. I'm a fortunate guy right now to have realized this in a certain way, so that I can just start spending some time working on my own stuff. Again, unless I said like if they asked me to draw the Hulk, I would say yes. Where do I sign? That's one of my favorite characters ever, and I would love and be honored to be able to draw that character. But in saying that, it's not necessarily my drive anymore. It's more come home, do my stuff, have fun with it, enjoy life. And it's funny because I'm going to read you guys' questions to see you guys just lighten it up, and I'm rambling again, but it's funny because I feel like one of the debates I had in my head while I've been thinking of this over the last year is like on one side it's, well, don't give up. You've worked all this time. There's still Marvel, DC, Image, all these Dark Horse, all these big places that I could still work at, and if I don't keep doing the same thing I'm doing right now, who knows if I'll ever have made it, you know, in air quotes, because I know a lot of people like to suggest to themselves, and I'll tell you right now, it's a lie, that you don't make it by working for these big companies. You make it by being happy. Okay, you make it by being happy. And if getting to those big companies makes you happy, then yeah, then you've made it. But don't go out there thinking that you're never any kind of artist or you're not good enough because you never worked for a publisher. That's horseshit. That's absolute horseshit. Think about how cool it would be. And even if you don't like making your own stories, everybody's got a story to tell. Think about how cool it would be if you made your own story and it became as popular as Spider-Man or as popular as Batman. That's always something to shoot for too, right? You've always got somebody to write a comic book for, whether it's your kid, whether it's your niece, whether it's your friend, whether it's for you, right? Okay, I'm preaching. So let me just start asking questions. Let me get out of this little horror show here. Somebody was saying it sounded like agents were screwing him over. Yeah, it didn't. It sounded like he did get screwed over, and he's just getting kind of fed up with whatever thing he was taking. But whatever gets him on the smile, whatever gets a smile on his face, right? I know what he's talking about, not from an agent standpoint, but just it being shitty for a while, and there's not much you can do about it because you need the money, and that's such a horrible way to work. It's not fun. Van Davis is saying, I've been in his situation. You sign up planning things to go a certain way, then they go south, and you're torn between being professional and doing what your heart tells you. Yeah, without going into too much of that, I can attest to that 100%. Ben Jones Art is saying, I just took away all of my extra client work and sticking with the day job. I asked myself a question. What do I want my artistic obituary to say at the end of my career? Those things ended up being my first priority for me. See, and what Ben is saying is where I'm mentally at right now. And Ben, if you wouldn't mind, could you dump your age in the chat? And are you married? Do you have kids? Do you got a girlfriend, boyfriend? What do you like? You don't got to give me your life story. I'm just wondering if it's an age thing. But what he's saying is essentially that is, for me anyway, unless I absolutely need the cash, the client work, like I said earlier, if the cash is excellent and I enjoy the project, I'll most likely take it. But I have income right now, so I don't have to be taking art to do income. And that whole illusion that I've given myself for a long time of, well, if I'm not making comics, you know, then what am I doing? And to be fair, for some reason, and this might be just me getting all messed up in the head, somebody paying me to do comics and publishing it meant that's doing comics, which is crap. I can make comics. I'm making comics. The difference is somebody isn't directly paying me for me to give that to them. I'm creating the stuff. Why am I not doing this? Why? What is the excuse that I need? It's not money. If you're doing this because you need money, then keep doing it. But if you have money, if you have a job, you don't necessarily have to work for other people. And there is an argument to be said about working for people that give you comic book work to do comic book work so that you'll get better and you'll draw better and all that stuff. That's fine, and I agree 100. I don't want to say I agree 100% because I've been down that road, and for me, it hasn't worked out. I think an alternative route, which is something I never would have done, but it'd be interesting to see the experiment if I could give it to myself again, is I don't want to say get a career doing something else and do comics on the side. That's not what I want to say. If you can, sweet. If I could have just kept a day job with the money coming in, and then just doing my own comics, I wonder how far I could have gotten then, up to now. And it's not a regret thing. I'm just interested and curious. It's a very curious question to me. I can't count the amount of times I've heard people say this. I can agree to it, but I never really acted on it until literally like a year ago, which is your best work is always your own work. I know if I was drawing the standard, I would pour my heart into it. Some days were real hard to even get started, and some days were like, oh, I can't wait to do this. However, the Jessup King mini comic that I did, sitting down doing a cover for a mini comic, man, I have it on my desktop. I'll just show you guys, okay? You guys might think it's kind of, you know, whatever. It's old. I think it's even 2011. Let me see. Yeah, 2011. So this is it. It's kind of cropped in. You can't see everything. That's fine. Love this. That's why it's my desktop. It reminds me of a couple things that do my own stuff, make comics, keep sharing, keep doing stuff. But everything I've done has led up to this kind of stuff. And I don't want this. I don't want to share this kind of stuff with you guys to be like, oh, look at John. I just want this stuff to be like inspirational to you guys to keep doing what you're doing. Question yourself all the time. Always ask questions. Is there a better way to do work? Is there a better way to get a project done? Is there a better way to get my career started? Is there a better way to become a professional? What is it that I can do, right? And if you're like me, your answers that you get are going to be shit. And if you're like me, the answers you get are probably very difficult, or you just don't follow that advice, you know? But I'm preaching again. Jeez, sorry. Let me just go here. What are your thoughts on the Cintiq Companion Hybrid? I'm not a professional, but I think my drawing could maybe benefit from it. We'll see. Well, I see your stuff and want to mimic that to some degree. What I have is a Surface Pro, the first one. Get what you can afford. Just remember, this is just a tool. This isn't going to make your art better. It might make it easier, like I can manipulate sketches and final drawings and stuff like that. However, it's not. I didn't get this is a Cintiq here, the small guy, the 12WX. I didn't get this, and all of a sudden my art became better. That could just be my opinion. Most people I hear, it's about the same. Most people even say that their pencil work and their inking, their traditional inking, is better if that's what you've done before. Just it's a tool, but you still need the practice and the skills in doing what you're doing. So the Cintiq Companion, to me, it's very expensive for what it is. And I was actually talking to another friend today, Eric Faries. I always say your name wrong, but and we were kind of talking about how Wacom is very overpriced. I don't know the exact tech specs and why they charge it. To me, it feels kind of like Nike shoes. I guess there's some cooler plastic they throw in there. I don't know, but you kind of pay for the label, and there's some other cool stuff in there. There has to be. But I'm thinking it's mostly just industry professionals use these tools, and it just kind of goes there. So I have the Surface Pro. It took a little bit of work to get around, but I really enjoy it now. And when I first got it, I thought that I'd never be able to do production work with it. And the more time I spend with it, the more my opinion's changing. So if it's about money, definitely check out a Surface Pro or even other tablets. I'm just familiar with the Surface Pro. I can't really recommend or comment on the Cintiq Companion, besides it's very expensive. Now, if it's superior in a lot of ways, then and it's worth the money, then knock yourself out. If you like the idea of a portable sketchbook or being able to draw somewhere, honestly, it's one of my favorite things. The other day, I bring it with me every day to work. I hardly ever use it at work. I hardly ever use it at all. But there are times when I do. Yes, like we've been having some real bad storms over the last couple of days, a lot of rain, and it was just raining brutal. I couldn't, like, I walk home to and from work, so I just walked over to the coffee store, grabbed a small coffee, sat down, opened it up, and just started doing this, doing some plots actually, just sketching out ideas, and to be able to do that, awesome. It's a really good feeling. Okay, so we got about 15 minutes left. This is actually really good. Thank you guys for all the questions and the discussion here. It's one of the better videos I've had in a long time. If you guys do have a comment or a question, please leave it in the chat. Just post it in all capitals. That way I can see it quicker. And if you're coming in a little bit late, this show is supposed to be every Wednesday, but Thursday it looks like it's just booming. I don't know if we're going to start moving things around. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll do a Wednesday, Thursday. Hey, we'll get crazy. But right now, it's every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching this live right now, take a look at your time and subtract an hour. 45 minutes. We'll say 45 minutes to an hour from it. That's when we start every Wednesday, okay? So feel free to come in here. Don't be shy. If you got a question, an art-related question, how do you draw a head, anything, everybody's had the questions. And if I can help you at all, and I can do so, I will try my hardest to help you out. You guys are talking about the 22 HD Cintiq. I'm actually thinking of upgrading my Cintiq to the big guy, and there's the main reason for that is Kerry Nord, if you guys know him. What I remember him, I think he's doing Exo Manowar right now. I remember him when he was on his run for Conan. I guess I don't know what he's doing digital, but he's got a giant Cintiq, or he's got the small one. And what one of his comments was, and I just happened to see it. Somebody said, how do you like it? And he said he really enjoys it, but he's thinking of returning it to get the big one because he wishes he could see more of the comic page. So my argument there would be, so now I'm seeing all of this, which is awesome. The more I can see on a comic, it's just like traditional. How many times are we drawing, guys, where you look up and you go, oh man, look how cool that face is right there, yeah, and you go back to drawing your guy. But I find when I work on the small Cintiq, it's a lot of things are just right here, bang, it's this panel. I'll have another window open so I can see it. It's the same thing, but it's not the same thing, right? And then to counter that argument, I'm not sure, but if at this resolution the screen's bigger, I can still do that, or if it's just I'm zooming in more. I don't know. And the cost it's still pretty steep, right? Even if selling the small one here. So it's just an idea I got there. Gab Sarah, if I botched that, asks, when we create the narrative for a comic page, is it necessary to include a long shot of our character per page? Okay, so I think what you're talking about there, if I can just reword your question, just let me know if that's not what you're asking. When you're creating the narrative for a comic page, is it necessary to include a long shot of our character per page? No. Nothing's set in stone in comics. I find that a lot of things that comics does well, where it all starts anyway, where most people try this stuff, is from two things. One is from animation, like cartoons, and the other one is from movies. And what's the word I'm looking for? Cinematography, okay? And the long shot you're talking about, I think, is an establishing shot. So there's some things that usually happen in comics where it's kind of like it's the golden rules. So let's just say our first page is Gotham City. Batman shows up at the end. If this was the first page I turned into, you would usually see some sort of shot that shows Gotham City. So whether it's literally a panel with some buildings and some blimps and stuff. I've seen Greg Capullo, he'll do something like this where it's a nice long shot where he'll actually get down on the street with people, and then you see the huge buildings kind of going up, and you still got your blimps and stuff. And then I've seen other cats still do something like, okay, so there's some more panels here like this, and then, oh, Batman. Looks like Catman. But what they'll do is they'll start getting artsy fartsy and more illustrative, right? They'll start going like, okay, here's Gotham City, ooh, but they'll just black this out. And this right here is kind of, I like to call it a Will Eisner sort of thing. You know? There's lots of ways to do this. But no, you don't need an establishing shot on every page. Usually it's recommended if a scene changes, so if you're at the mall and then the next page you're at school. But you don't necessarily have to have a giant page or a giant panel to have an establishing shot. There's very, very creative ways. I've seen, just say you turn the page and it's a school. Maybe it's, I don't know, you could have... You can play with things, right? So if we need to show the school, is there reflections we could play with? Is there... Maybe, okay, there you go. So maybe it's about two girls ditching school. And you got one character here and another character in the extreme foreground. You can hardly see it. And maybe she's putting makeup on, so in her mirror you can see the school behind you, right? Like there's lots of way to change it, and it's the fun stuff. To me, this is the fun stuff. Finding this stuff here, doing all the fancy art and all that fun, you know, that's fun too. And it's more of meditative in a way. You can just sit down and just draw. This stuff here requires, for me anyway, the most brain power. This is the stuff I get tired out at. I can only do so many thumbnails in a day before my brain just goes. As for your character, get creative with it. One test you could do, one thing that you give yourself, I just want to leave you with something that you could try doing something. If you can afford it, or if you already have it, grab like 5 to 10 comic books. If you don't have any right now, go to the comic book store, save up to buy 5 comic books, maybe 3 if you really want to get cheap. And just go pick I'm just using gross names here. So Spider-Man, The Flash, and Swamp Thing. Okay? And just literally look at it, but look at the panels for what's in them. Screw the story. Don't look at the story. Look at the panels. Look at the views and stuff. See how people handle changing scenes. See how these professionals, how these pros, whatever you want to call them, people getting paid to do comics, see how they tackle this sort of stuff. And as long as you keep doing that from time to time, seeing what's out there, seeing what people are doing, it should keep you fresh. And Ben Jones, wow, that was a while ago. Sorry, man. He said he was 38, married, and he's got 3 kids near high school. So I don't have the kids. He's 7 years older than I am. I could see why he's starting to feel that way, if you ask me. And I think now that I'm starting to feel that way, it's I'm gonna put my chips into it's an age thing. It's an age thing. And Will, we talk about this all the time. He's 24 and he only wants to draw for Marvel and DC, and there's nothing wrong with that. Drew saying, I would turn Marvel and DC down. I love comics, but they're running circles with their boring stories and crossovers. See, so everybody's got an opinion on this stuff, right? Ben is saying, I've turned down work for Marvel as an inker because the money versus the time spent, it was silly. Actually, you know, that's the thing. Kevin even talked about that, and Kevin was telling it straight, guys. If you want to hear somebody that's been in the industry for a while, he's worked for Marvel. He's done work for the big guys. He's done his own stuff. He's been in a band. He's an awesome guy. He's a really cool guy. He's got a lot of things to say. Very positive for a lot of the things that weigh him down. And the one video that he posted, again, man, it just, even if you're not there yet, and again, it could be an age thing, but expect that, okay? The amount of money you make in comics, and I'm just spitballing it here and trying to throw my perspective at it, the amount of money you will always make in comics is shit, okay? Unless you're Jim Lee, Dave Finch, the big boys, okay? Unless you're those cats, there's a reason why so many comic book artists leave to go into video game concept art or development. There's a reason why they leave to do posters, illustrations, right? The counter argument to that is, well, that's fine. As long as I'm making enough to live, I'm doing what I love. I'm not ever going to tell somebody to never do something that they love. If you love it, do it. If you can't feed yourself, there's a problem, right? You're gonna die, right? There's certain things you need to make sure you got. We're getting into preach mode here, I can already tell. But you can, this is the trick, okay? And this is what's that switch that's hitting me in the head. Like I said, if Marvel asked me to draw a Hulk, if the money was good, I would say yes. Now, saying that, if they said, hey, I'll give you $40 a page to work for Marvel to do the Hulk, I don't know. It's the Hulk. It might seem pretty fun. But like Ben just said, the amount of time it takes to do that, it ain't worth it. So think about this. I'm just going to throw this at you. You could get by every day just paying your bills, buying a couple drinks on the weekend, taking your boyfriend out, your girlfriend out, enjoying, having a good time, and spending the rest of your time busting your ass doing sick, sweet comics, right? But the pay you're getting is making it tough, okay? What if I throw this at you? And yes, you're hammering art, you're getting better every day because that's all you're doing is drawing. Great. Awesome. What if you just got a job, a regular job, stocking shelves, waiting tables, working at a movie studio, I don't know, something. The money you'd make there, chances are going to be more than you're making in comics. When you get home, you can still make your comics. There's no difference there. The amount of time it takes to do comics, the average person that I talk to, that I know anyway, they do not finish comic book pages in 8 hours. They might. They might. Most people don't even have full-time jobs anymore. If you're living in North America or anywhere, really. It's very hard to find full-time jobs. Most people have 2 part-time jobs and a family. But the amount of money you're making to the time spent is where it gets real shit fest, okay? And if you can start spending that time that you do have making your own, when I say making your own comic, it could just be spent working on portfolios every single day and continually sending them out to get better paying gigs. It's just getting, if I could, I would go back and I would never work on a project that I was paid $40 a page for, $60 a page for. I had day jobs back then, washing dishes, being a teller at a gas station, working at a dollar store where I was making more money. But when I went home, I would work another 8 to 10 hours to do a page for $40, because that's just the way it is. That's no slight against anybody. A lot of people do that, and this is just I'm just giving it to you guys as I see it. If I could go back, and I don't like to do the regrets thing, but if I could go back, I would not work for anybody. I would spend that time working on my own stuff. If I needed money, I would have changed things up and started offering commissions to people, because commissions, you can get paid roughly around the same amount for not even close the amount of time it takes to do a comic book page. And I'd spend that time making my own comics and or doing portfolio pieces to try to get better paying work. So if there's anything I can say to you guys, if you want to work for the big guys, do it. Kick its ass. Have fun. But I would highly recommend, and this is just my point of view, maybe you'll have it one day, maybe I'm wrong because I'm not working at the big companies, but spending the time to come home and study after work to just nail down the fundamentals of what you know what is wrong with your art has got to be better than spending all day doing a comic that for somebody else, that just because they're paying you. And I'll just end it with this. If you're working that job just for the money because you can't find a job, keep doing what you're doing. You need a job. You got to have money, right? You got to feed yourself. And I'll stop preaching again, and let me just jump back down into the questions. And we're at about 9 o'clock now, so I'm going to keep it going. Feeling pretty good for another 15 minutes. I'll try to just skim through here. I'll try not to interact with you guys and get into the debate and stuff like that. So if you guys got an art question or a comic question, by all means, please dump it in the chat in all capitals so I can see it. I'll do my best to answer that as fast as I can. Okay, so going quickly to Ben, what he was saying is when he was doing, or when he was asked to do inking for Marvel, I think it was $60 a page with a very short turnaround while working a day job. So what I think he's talking about there, I've heard people say this, is a lot of times Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, like all the big guys, they all have people they already need to do these jobs. When they ask you for a quick turnaround, you're just a fill-in guy. You're somebody that they've seen and they like, and they might give you a chance, a test, they like to call it, right? Because they need that book done. So in his case, in Ben's case, I don't know the specifics, but it could have been something like, we need 6 pages inked over the weekend. Why? They won't tell you, but most likely the inker they're having a problem with, or the actual inker they have on the book is sick, or he's out of town, or he's swamped. Deadlines aren't meeting up, so they'll pull somebody else in to help pull that weight. And If you get stuck in that, it's very hard to break out of that, and you'll always be that go-to guy for fill-in stuff. Right? And there is an argument to be made against Ben there, where it's like maybe he should have done that. Sacrificed that week or whatever the turnaround time was to actually do something for Marvel for only $60 a page, and who knows what that could have led, right? Who knows? John, why haven't we seen more Jessup? I've been so excited every time I see you working on a sketch of that guy. It's very funny you bring that up, Vin. Or Van, sorry. I had a little thought today. I'll get to that later. But I'm sure you'll see more of him, most likely soon. Armask, have you tried Lazy Nizumo Pro? It's an awesome plugin for Photoshop. No, I have not. Let me just make a note right here. I like checking this stuff out. Lazy Nizumo Pro Photochops. Thank you for that. I'll definitely check it out. Drew saying, Image allows you to keep all the rights though, plus the publicity is max for independent. I guess there's some trade-off for Rob. Absolutely, yep. Image, if I could get any book I do published through Image, I'd have to look at the details and stuff, I'm assuming, but most people do, so it's got to be good. Looking for, like, if you're doing your own work, finding a publisher's, you can be, and usually pretty sweet, so definitely try that out. They charge it because they're the guys the Hollywood... Oh, man. They charge it because they're the guys the Hollywood guys use, and they can afford the huge price. Image has its own problems. I've been screwed over by them, too, by lack of payments, etc. There is no perfect company. No, there's not. So Image Comics submission is for them to jack your ideas. They provide no publicity whatsoever if you sign on. I really don't get what you guys are getting at. Okay, sounds like there's just some questions there. From what this is going back to maybe 2005, 2008, maybe. Well, there was a couple books I was working on where we were fishing them around, trying to get them at Image and stuff. And what I remember is Image, they would do, you had to pay, and this could be different. Like I said, it was a while ago. You paid them to, what was it? Damn it. Publish your book and promote it. The only problem is most people don't have the money up front to do it. So there was like a percentage you paid up front for them to, it's kind of like they're investors really. And they would take that cut and they'd own something nuts like 70 or 80% of all profits went to them because it would cover, right? It would cover all the promotion and publicity if they gave it to you and the printing of your book, right? Image books always have that. Image books are very quality. They have they're very nice books, right? Like the paper, the ink quality, all of it's very good. But they're a company, and yes, they want independent stuff. That's their push. But they do take a huge slice, and that's the way it goes, right? That's the way she goes, boys. Let's see. Van is saying, I would say if you have the money to spend, get the Cintiq Hybrid. It's basically the 13 HD without the wires. But if you have some money, sorry. Go get Surface Pro 2 first to keep it a few weeks. Okay. If you don't like it, return it. Yeah, that's usually how I like to work. I sold my Cintiq 13 to pay for my Surface Pro 2 and never looked back. That's always good to hear. You guys are talking about prices and stuff. Drew, back in my day, people used to draw with a pencil and paper. Those were the days. What pencil do you use to get the magic out of your art? I think people fantasize about working for the big two because they want to pay it back or that it'll be magical, but really it will be low paid work, and when you're done they might not use you. I know this is all going to sound like guys, all of your time and effort can be spent so much better. I personally believe it. That's just me. However, I was that guy earlier as well that really wanted to work in the industry. And the one thing I never really pushed was going to conventions and having my own table and booth and all that fun stuff and actually being in editors' faces. So that could have had a big I would have maybe probably a huge change of perspective. However, I do know personally a few people that do work at Marvel, and they make good wages, very livable. Now the question comes in is, once you have a like if it's just you, you're fine. As soon as you start getting, if you have any plan, okay, maybe this is, I don't want to get preachy again. I'm going to wrap it up real quick. That's the key word for this stream, preach. Is, okay, what was that? I think I just lost what I was going to I think I totally lost what I was going to say. Good. All right, moving on. Will's still going to do it. Good for you, man. Kick its ass. Drew is saying there's no long term as far as I'm concerned, but if it's some goal to get some pay grade, then whatever. To me, I just didn't see enough fruit. And there's my good man, Michael. Haven't seen you in a while, bud. How you doing? Hey, God, create the earth and the heavens for 40 bucks a day. Oh, man. Oh, and could you color it and letter it, too? Just want to work with art. I don't think DC Marvel has an office in Denmark. And Robson Inc., I'm assuming he's talking to me, because we talk back and forth about this stuff, and it's cool because he has a very different opinion on all of this than I do. So maybe when we do a live scribble, or not a live, if we can get around to doing another happy sketch time, maybe we can have a little debate on air for you guys. But he says he humbly disagrees with all that you've said. I'm assuming, again, it's all towards me, and he knows that I know, sorry, that Will has no interest in personal projects. Yep. And the only thing, because I've got a mic right now, Will, so I can talk and you have to type, is all I can say is I get you. I get you. I get you. However, even if you don't want to do personal projects, I honestly think that you could get a job anywhere that'll get you more money than what you're getting paid now. And when you come home or when you wake up before work, whatever you got to do, all that study, I've seen your work, man. It's awesome. You guys should see Will's work from when he was doing a book before the Standard, even in between there and where he's at right now, leaps and bounds. Literally Superman shit over buildings. So in another 6 months, another year, another 10 years, right? It's that, like, seeing his progress and stuff is exactly what I would recommend everybody doing. And essentially, if you're doing what you should do, you should get there. And I could see the argument made where, well, if I'm not doing comics all day, I couldn't get where I'm at. I get that. However, if you had that job to get the money, so you weren't worrying about that, you just had to worry about some boss or somebody at work being a douchebag. When you got home to do your comics, you could actually focus 100% on doing Marvel scripts. You could find DC scripts everywhere. You could draw those things. You could hammer that out. And that time is most likely pure focus and study. It's schooling. And I know I've talked to you. And the reason I'm just being blunt right now with everybody is because I know there's tons of people in the chat and people that are going to watch this tomorrow or whenever I upload it, or a year, 2 years from now when they watch it, that this hopefully hits home with them too. Again, my opinion on this. When you focus on something, the amount that you get out of it is phenomenal. When you just have to do something to get paid, or do something because you like it, but you just got to do it to get the paycheck, it ain't the same. It's not the same. So when I say personal projects, that's just my way of saying that's what I want to do. My personal projects would be my portfolio. However, if you don't want to do personal projects, anybody out there, you don't do them. But spend that time finding Marvel scripts, DC scripts, Image scripts. Find Spawn, find Invincible, Amazing Spider-Man, manga, anything, and draw those. Draw them. Have a rotation. Draw Moon Knight, 3 pages of the script, and then go over to Ghost Rider, and then go to Ninja Turtles, and then go back to Moon Knight. See what's happening, and I can guarantee you, you'll get better than just doing a script somebody's sending you where all you're doing it for is the pay. And I understand that, yeah, you can get better by doing it and by working every day at it. I agree. However, I think your time could be spent better. And that's just, if you were my son, I would talk to you like that. That's what I would say. And I 100% could be wrong. So, anyway. Some wild, yes, some gigantic hips. Yeah, I didn't even really get a chance to talk about this. What I'll do is I'll probably, I don't know, before I go to bed. Maybe I'll do another YouTube video, just kind of talk about this project so you guys can kind of see what's going on there. Ben saying, this 100-day thing got me going, man. I'm trying to catalog all the work that goes into it from the ground up, and it's been fun. We only have done one video so far. It's the video part is actually the hardest part about doing it. And even though it's just putting you there in front of a camera. Will saying, I just want to work for Marvel. He's talking to Drew in the chat. Full stop. If I don't like it, then I'll do my own thing. Right. So exactly. Anyway, Van's posting. Aside got. I tried the but this works so. Really? Do you have the Surface Pro, the first one? Does that work with the first one, the pen you got? Side buttons. Oh, I miss that dearly. Just being able to. I'll tell you guys right now. I have on my stylus pen the one button that's usually the closest one towards the nib. I have that for undo, so I can just undo right there. And I miss that so much on my Surface Pro. Yeah, and see, then that's the beauty there. Ben saying too, like whatever he's talking about, whatever it is you guys want to do, just. If it's your, how did he say? I'm just going to say it because it's perfect. Then go for it, bro. I say chase your dream, whatever it is. Absolutely. Preach on. Okay, we're getting some new, Smudge is in the chat. Damn. You know what, guys? We're just going to keep this going. Since we're getting so many cool questions here, like if you guys want to see stuff, maybe you know what I don't know. Do I got something else you guys could look at? Is there something I could noodle with or draw? Here, let me just put something else on the screen so you guys can look at something else. Hey John, I'm an 18-year-old comic artist, and I was wondering if you had any tips on improving storytelling. I used to be really into finding my style and focusing on pretty pictures, but I've recently realized that's not what comics are about. Congratulations on achieving that. It took me a long time to realize that, so good job that you're 18 and you found that out. What I really want to do is put out a really great story. I love stories and I read a lot, not just comics. I actually don't read that many comics, mainly web comics. Thanks in advance, man. You're an inspiration to me and all that good stuff, rubby-dubby stuff. Awesome. So thank you for being somebody that wants to make comics. And I obviously have a warm spot for anybody that likes to do personal projects, only because, and this could just be me, I'm just going to throw it out there, my opinion, personal comics usually have the freshest ideas. Now, they might not be good. The storytelling could be shit. Most likely it is. A lot of times, because everybody's new at this, you can't get to a publisher. Maybe you don't want to go there, but you can't get to a publisher. You can't do this, you can't do that. Nobody's willing to publish you, right? So you just, and the beautiful part, and the other side of it too, with webcomics is anybody and their mom, and there's nothing wrong with moms, everybody loves moms, but everybody and their mother can make a webcomic or a free book that you can download and just toss it up there, and it might not be good, right? But that's not the point. There's usually something that happens there, whether I get something out of it, like something that's fresh and cool by reading your story, or you get something out of it and go, the next one's going to be better, or you just get better. That's all cool stuff. So that's enough circle jerking, all that stuff. But honestly, to get better, all you got to do is draw and ask questions. That's it. And the questions you ask, please don't be one of those people that the questions you ask, you're only asking them because you have a counter to it. You want to make an argument. Don't go in there like, look at this. Okay, so look at this face I'm drawing right here, guys. It's a profile shot. Yeah, cool. And I draw like an eye like this. And we're going to looking real goofy, right? But I love it. I think it's great. And so I go to a convention or I go to somebody anywhere and I'm like, hey guys, what do you think of that? And they say, hey, you know, I like that you're, I see your guidelines are underneath there and all that cool stuff, but the eye here, it actually doesn't look like that. It might look more something like, you know, that, or you could even go this route with it, you know, because it curves and stuff. Don't go in there going, well, I haven't read any Loomis yet. Of course not. Don't go in there starting that fight. Just hear what people say, right? Ask the questions. I'm sorry, like, or don't, you don't have to apologize, but okay, what resources can I check out? Like, what can I look at? Take the advice some people give you. Most of it's going to be shit, but every now and then you're going to find that nugget, that gold nugget that you just got to like dust off and go, oh man, Michael Hampton is a fantastic book that I just recently picked up over the last couple of years, and I'm slowly finding time to go through it. Man, I wish I had that book way back in the day, right? And I only got that by asking a question, and I honestly forget the artist that I asked, but he recommended it, and I'm glad that he did, right? So all you got to do is work. And know that it's work. You're not going to love it all the time. Maybe do what a good chunk of us are doing. Spend 30 minutes every day for the next 100 days of just drawing. But not just drawing, maybe just study, like have a goal. Don't just draw to do what I'm doing right here, where I'm just kind of like noodling around. Have a goal, you know, like, okay, I want to fill this page with anatomy studies. I want to do gestures. I want to draw dogs. I want to draw buildings. Yuck. Who likes to draw buildings? Not many people, right? So hopefully that can help you out there. Can he stop a locomotive? I don't know. There's a lot of trains over in England. Pterodactyl. John, do you put out any independent artwork like prints and things? You can go to my website, jonathanrector.com. I will post it in the chat. I'm going to be adding things from time to time. However, if you go there, you can get some custom commissions done. I think I still have some artist edition issue #1 of the Standard, a comic book that I did the art for. You can check that out. As for personal work, I don't necessarily think I think I took a lot of it down, but I'm hoping to change all that stuff. That's what the purpose of a lot of this stuff is. But thank you so much for even asking that. I really appreciate that. It's a really awesome question to ask. Yeah, and Van, thanks for that, Smudge. Yeah, you guys, if you guys are actually just stumbling upon me from Livestream, go to jonathanrector.com or type in Scribbles with Jonathan on YouTube. I got a whole channel there, tons of stuff. You guys can have fun. And back to Will. He's saying, I am lucky though, John, to have found a client project that I love. I think that's the big difference. And he's my son. So yeah, that could be the thing. He's getting paid and he's working on a client project that he loves. So not gonna stir the pot. You have the Surface Pro 2. I'm pretty sure it's all the same. Sweet. Thank you, Van. I appreciate that. That's the old guy talk. Yeah. Put a slideshow on of old comic art. I don't even know how I could do slideshows. Ugh. It's supposed to be a drawing stream, guys, and all we're looking at is the exact same image over and over again. Alright, we're going to start wrapping this up here. Drew, what did you use the top button for on your stylus, John? Not the eraser. Oh yeah, I guess I could show that because a lot of people, they like this sort of thing. So if I drew my stylus, is that how it looks? How does it look? Like this. And we got a small button here, and then it kind of dips up like that. And we got that eraser tip. So obviously at the top here is an eraser. And this button right here, for some reason in Manga Studio 5, I don't know why it's an eyedropper tool. I don't know what's up with that. But whoops. I guess I'll use it now. But the back button, this guy here, I thought it was a front, sorry. This one's Control Alt Z. That way, or Alt Z, whatever you do. So I can really just kind of noodle around and then just start backing up and do some quick shadow work. Nah, I don't like that. Go back. I like having an undo right there. I don't have to have my hand. I very rarely, honestly, guys, touch my Cintiq when I'm working. I like to just move around. Sometimes I'll have it actually on the keyboard. Just use a space bar. Because I can turn it around and I got my kneadable eraser. I'll use the slider to change the size. So if we're like, okay, we want to tighten up this artwork here. There you go. Bang, we're back. You can do all your fun stuff there. Oh man, we got a whole bunch. Hey Lars, no, thank you so much for showing up. I'm actually going to be hitting bed myself. It's almost 10 o'clock. You're the real artist, right? You're going to bed at 3:20 a.m. Miss those days, man. But thank you so much for stopping by. Sierra, your work is really great. I did check your website to see. Thanks, man. Hey, no, appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you for the kind words. So, I guess with that, we're just going to say goodnight to everybody. Appreciate. This is an awesome live stream, you guys. You guys asked some really hard-hitting questions. I don't want to say kind of heated, but there's a lot. Excuse me. There's a lot of different opinions on a lot of things, and that's great because it sparks discussion, right? And that's really good. But again, for anybody that may have came in a little bit later, this show is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you came in right now, take a look at the clock, subtract an hour and a half from that, and that'll be every Wednesday. So you guys can come back and check it out. And if you had any comments or questions, by all means, just ask them in the chat while we're streaming. If you can't make this and you're watching this on YouTube or wherever else this may have been shared, definitely just send me an email or a message anywhere, and hopefully I can answer it in the next video. You don't have to be in the chat just to get some questions answered, okay, guys? So thank you guys so much for watching. For everybody else that's in the chat that's still doing the 100 days for the comics thing, thank you, Kevin Cross. I don't even know if you watch this or not, but you've inspired a lot of people, man. So even though the struggle you're going through right now, I support you on at least what information you're giving out. Nobody knows exactly what you're going through, but thanks for even uploading a video for the 100-day challenge. It's inspired so many people, myself included, so thank you for that and all that cool stuff. So if you guys want to check out my website and my work, you can head over to jonathanrector.com. And until next week, you guys, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll see you then. Bye.